Greetings, Wildcat families, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever is applicable to you as you watch this video. I'm Mr. Fleming, if those of you that don't know, and I am excited to be here before you presenting information at the beginning of the school year. I want to welcome you to the 2021-22 school year. I know it has been anything but a traditional opening, and I appreciate all of your patience as we've worked through some challenges to start the school year. I also want to thank our PTA officers for giving me this opportunity to speak to you this evening or this afternoon today to present information about how we did on last year's assessments. And as the challenges continue and we work through those challenges, we all know that it was a very difficult year last year, and this year started off probably equally as challenging. I just wanted to do a personal thank you to all of our parents out there. You are the lifeblood of our school and our organization, and you send us the most amazing, wonderful kids each and every day. They come to us with a degree of resiliency and affability and just pleasantness that makes my job as principal and our staff thankful to come to work every day, and we thank you for that. And although we may not always agree on everything, I think for the most part your children are having a good experience here at West Shore, and we thank you for your support as we pursue the most aggressive competitive college admissions portfolio for them that we can. So thank you for that. And once again, thank you to our officers for giving me this chance. Now, under normal circumstances, I would love standing before you doing this presentation because it is a fun night for me as I reflect on what we have built from last year and reflect on all the positive assessment results that our school has been known to achieve. And of course, last year was no different. Although it was challenging, we certainly met or exceeded the bar in many areas to include AP and SAT. And I wanted to, again, mention that as we start. So I'm going to do a couple things in this presentation. First of all, I'm going to share with you some assessment data from last year in the form of a PowerPoint that I shared with our teachers at the beginning of the year during our pre-planning event. And then I'm going to share with you a little bit of professional development that we've done for our teachers. Because as you know, as our community continues to deal with a lot of stress and anxiety from many different angles, our teachers and staff are also dealing with stress and anxiety from many different angles because they have their own families and their own situations at home, which can often be challenging and be equally as difficult as those of our families. So tried to do a little bit of an inspiration for them as we started the school year, just to get them back on track and recalibrated to the service that we provide for our students and for our families. So with that, I'm going to start off with our assessment. So bear with me as I share my screen. And I'm going to open up a PowerPoint. Okay, bear with me, sharing my screen. And I am going to open this PowerPoint. I apologize. My digital expertise has gotten better. It's still not where I would like it to be. But it has gotten a little bit better. So we're going to start this from the beginning. Alrighty, there we go. Okay, West Shore Junior Senior High School. And I like to say we are a case study in sustained excellence as named after our grade A accountability plan. As you know, West Shore has been an A school since inception of the grading program for schools back when Jeb Bush was our governor in the mid 90s, early 90s, and we are proud to boast that we've been an A school since inception of that criteria. Everybody reads the press releases. Everybody knows, we've been recognized as the number 4 school in the state of Florida, as well as the number 47 school in the nation by U.S. News and World Reports. And we are proud to boast that honor because that is out of 28,000 public high schools. So to be number 47 in the nation is certainly a feather in our cap, and we want to make sure we stay in the top 50. And of course, we all want to be number one. That is our pursuit of excellence that we will continue. We've been a National Blue Ribbon school for 3 years. We were the only secondary school to earn it back in 2018. Very proud of that honor. I got to go to DC and be recognized by our Commissioner of Education and accept that honor on West Shore's behalf. Other periodicals that we've been recognized in, the Washington Post, of course, Newsweek, the Daily Beast, niche.com, which is one of the newest online platforms to rank schools. And we're very proud of each and every one of these honors. But as I've often said, and many parents will certainly agree with me, if you're doing things right by kids and you're treating families and kids with utmost respect, dignity, and have their best interests in mind, these rankings take care of themselves. So I firmly believe that while we're proud of all these rankings, they do take care of themselves in terms of the rankings and the assessments for kids that they do. This is what our April and May looks like. And no, this is not West Shore, but I like to share this as a bit of humor because when we get into assessments in the springtime, our AP testing sites often look similar to this. And we're hoping that this year we won't have to separate students out by 6 feet and, of course, be able to complete these assessments in a timely manner. But as you know, the spring is often challenging because we have FSA testing along with EOC testing, along with AP testing, and all of those overlap. All of those assessments have different time frames. They have AM and PM testing. So we have testing going on in our gymnasium, in our auditorium, many of our classrooms, our media center, and that is from April through May. So I appreciate and thank you for your support as we navigate through this each year. And we know our students have done well and will continue to do well. But it is kind of funny when you think about what our campus looks like in April, May. And although it's not this bad, it does look something similar. So I'd like to share with you a little bit about our advanced placement historical data. And you can see since 2013 all the way to 2021, the number of assessments we have increased in. We have 29 AP courses in our schedule, and I'm very proud to report that we've always hovered around 75% pass rate. And last year we gave 455 students 1,231 AP tests. And that is a duplicated number because many of our students obviously are taking more than one AP test. That's why we have the number of assessments at 1231. But amidst all the challenges, amidst the disconnect with e-learning and synchronized learning and some kids being on campus, some kids being off campus, they did master content effectively. And you can see that by the pass rate of 3 or above, which is 73%, which does earn our children college credit. And we're proud of our students and our teachers for meeting those challenges last year. And although we did dip in the number of assessments we gave, our percentage passed was not statistically significant, only dropping 1% from 74 to 73 amid those challenges. So very proud, once again, of our students and our teachers. And you can look at that historical information. And you can refer back to this whenever you want, because this is obviously a recorded presentation. One of the things I like to boast here at West Shore, of the many things, is our national merit. And as you know, that our students that take the PSAT are entered into the national merit qualifying test. Students that earn a selection index, usually around the 200s, get chosen as national merit commended students. And oftentimes we'll have upwards of 20 to 25 of those. Of those, they are entered into the national merit semifinalist and finalist competition. The national merit commended are one of 30,000 students. The national merit semifinalists are one of 16,000 students out of 1.5 million nationwide. And then, of course, the national merit finalists, which is the final phase of the competition, are students that are one of 15,000 out of 1.5 million nationwide. And I am proud and excited to acknowledge that we had 10 National Merit semifinalist students and 6 National Merit finalist students in those respective categories. And again, these represent the top 99.9 percentile of students across the United States. And West Shore leads the pack of all the schools, both public and private, in the number of National Merit qualifying students. So once again, very proud of our students for their aptitude along with their commitment to their studies, which refine those and allow them to be chosen as finalists, semifinalists, and commended. Here are ACT mean composite scores, and I do apologize because of the lag in some of the data reporting. We do not have scores for 2020, 2021. We're hoping to get the 2021 scores for our students who took ACT in October. But as you can see the progression, you know, back when our students started taking ACT in 2002, we progressively have increased every year to a composite score of a 28.4. And as you know, for Bright Futures, the full Bright Future Scholarship, the cutoff score is a 28. So our students who took the ACT, and we often encourage our students to take both ACT and SAT, and people often ask me what the difference between those two tests are. And you know, the ACT seems to be more of a cerebral aptitude assessment in that it covers a range of topics, whereas the SAT focuses a little bit more on the math and language skills. So anyway, that's just my own assessment of looking at historical data between the two tests. But I would often encourage our college-bound students, which all of them are, to try both the SAT and ACT, because the threshold scores for Bright Futures for each of those obviously are on different scales, but some may do better on ACT than SAT and vice versa. So anyway, very proud of our students and the composite scores they have received on ACT. The SAT reading and math scores, as you can see, we had a little dip in 19 and 20 because of obvious reasons. Last year, we were back on the upswing, a 633 in the verbal and a 635 in math as composite averages. As you know, that is right on the threshold for the Bright Futures full scholarship. And those students that are within a few points, we encourage them to take it multiple times so they can meet that SAT threshold for the full Bright Futures. But we're very proud of our students for continuing their commitment to their studies. And I would throw in a plug for Khan Academy. We have the students using their College Board accounts, set up their Khan Academy accounts, or excuse me, with College Board and using Khan Academy. 10 hours on Khan Academy can sometimes increase SAT scores up to 100 points. And there's been statistically significant studies to that effect. So I would encourage all of our parents to query your children about their College Board accounts, because they can match up their PSAT scores with Khan Academy, and they do a diagnostic view of what kids need to work on to increase their SAT scores. Feel free to reach out to our guidance department and Mr. Drake specifically if you have questions about that particular topic. And I know that through our homeroom and through our English department, we work with kids in making sure they have those College Board accounts set up and marry their PSAT scores up with Khan Academy to get a really good diagnostic view of where they need to work to increase those scores. So once again, reach out to guidance if you have any questions about that. But very proud of our students. AP Capstone, as you know, we added AP Capstone back in 2016, and many of you have had older children that have come through West Shore and have seen the growth and proliferation of our AP Capstone Diploma program. AP Capstone Diploma is similar in rigor and recognition than that of IB and Cambridge diplomas. And colleges have really started to recognize the AP capstone diploma as a viable comparison to both of those other established programs that I previously mentioned. So we're proud that 52 out of our 138 plus graduates last year earned the AP capstone diploma. So that's a little more than a third, and we're very proud of them for that. And the AP diploma recipients, we had 72 of those. And again, that may include the 52 that earned the AP capstone diploma. The capstone diploma, just so you know, is recognized by colleges. It's recognized by College Board. It's a internationally recognized diploma designation program. The AP diploma recipients are a Brevard County recognition. So that's the difference between the two, but many of our students qualify for both. And that's what you see in this data set here. Some of the highlights, and I often like to highlight last year's graduating class in 2021, and at the King Center in I believe it was May 28th of last year, we had graduation and we recognized 137 graduates. 132 of those earned the Diploma of Distinction, which means they completed all their accelerations, they completed their senior project, they completed their leadership component, and they completed all of their volunteer hours. So that's a pretty good stat given all the challenges that we had last year. I like to say we have 100% who earned the Diploma of Distinction, but unfortunately, you know, with the challenges we had, some of our students fell a little bit short, but only 5, so not too bad. 132 were honor graduates that earned a 3.5 or above. And of course, these are students who are taking a litany of honors and AP courses within their sequence. And there is no fluff in West Shore curriculum. So you know how hard they work, and we know how hard they work. So to be an honor grad here at this school is a very, very distinct designation indeed. Our GPA, if you look at our valedictorians, 17 we had with perfect 4.0s. And I'm very proud of those students as well. One of the reasons I don't wait for valedictorian or salutatorian is many of our students have to make difficult scheduling decisions, as you know. And I do not like to have to put a child in a position of having to forego a possibility at jazz band, for example, and just to take an AP Physics C class that may be scheduled at the same time. And just to be valedictorian, they end up with the AP Physics C class and skip out on their passion, which may be jazz band. And I don't want kids to have to make those difficult decisions. So they could certainly do jazz band and still be valedictorian. And we believe that our students will gravitate to the courses and the things that they want to do. We had 10 National Merit Commended, as mentioned in the previous slides. And once again, these are the top 16,000 out of 1.5 million nationwide. And the National Merit Designation is 1 out of 15,000 out of 1.5 million students nationwide. And again, I went over the 52 seniors that were capstone and 72 advanced placement scholars. 46 of them was the stat I was looking for, that they earned both of these designations. Very proud of them. 109 out of 138 earned Bright Future scholarships, with 64 of them earning the full academic 100% paid college tuition. 45 earned the medallion, which is 75% tuition. And again, those thresholds are grade point average combined with test score, combined with volunteer hours. So our requirements here align perfectly with the requirements for Bright Futures, and we continue to monitor that for any changes in Bright Futures that may come down from Tallahassee. We had 15 students that earned their AA degree, and they earned their high school diploma and their AA degree concurrently with their high school diploma from EFSC. So students that choose the early admissions route, while West Shore is pretty much known and our program of study here is advanced placement, there is that caveat where students can choose to go to EFSC full-time and earn an Associate of Arts degree. And some of them choose to do that. And so all of the ones that chose to do that from West Shore earned their AA degree. So that was impressive. But probably the most profound statistic is we had over $7 million worth of scholarships earned with the class of 2021. And that will be your children in the future as they graduate from West Shore and earning these accolades. And of course, that saves us money as parents, and we're all happy about that. One thing I like to mention, and again, this is a prelude to the trust and vulnerability that our teachers have in one another and administration, and working in unison together for the common good of the students. And the circle of safety, I like to show this to our teachers. So when I showed the PowerPoint presentation of the testing results to our teachers, I wanted to connect them about what helps us make these significant results possible. And so I'm going to share this. It's about 11-minute video that I share with teachers before I move on to the challenge I gave our teachers for this year.
What is a circle of safety, and why should organizations consider building one?
So the outside world is fraught with danger, things that want to kill you. In caveman times, it would have been, saber-toothed tiger or the weather or lack of resources, things that are trying to end your life, Well, in the modern business world, the things that are trying to kill you, quote unquote, are, the unpredictable nature of the stock market, or a new technology that shows up out of nowhere and renders your business model useless, or your competition who may want to actually put you out of business, or maybe they just want to steal your customers or deny you customers, These are all pressures that, if left unchecked, will kill you, will put you out of business, right? These are a constant, and this is the danger of the outside world. The dangers inside an organization are a variable. And a circle of safety is something that leaders provide. They draw a circle of safety around their people, and they say, if I keep you safe internally and you do not fear any dangers internally, then you are more likely to work together, trust each other, and cooperate to face the dangers externally. And only when there's a strong circle of safety is there innovation. Innovation requires risk and experimentation and failure. And if people fear that they might lose their jobs simply because they tried and failed or lost some money, then they won't try. And so there is no innovation. This is the joke that so many organizations pound people and say, if you come up with something big, we'll give you a big bonus. But if you fail, we'll fire you. Or even if that risk exists, they are destroying innovation in their company. The responsibility of leadership is two things: to decide how porous that circle of safety is, and in other words, who should we let in? We can only let in people that we'd want to trust and that would trust us. In other words, people who believe what we believe, who share our value set, right? If you let in someone just because they're qualified but they don't share your values, they're like cancer. They'll destroy it. That's number one. The other thing is how big to make the circle. Some leaders make the circle of safety only around themselves and their board and their senior executives. They're the safe ones, but everybody else can fend for themselves. In fact, worse, they'll sacrifice everybody else to keep themselves safe. These are very weak organizations. The strongest organizations, the leaders extend that circle of safety right to the most junior people in the organization. And they insist on the bureaucracy, that each layer of bureaucracy protect the layer beneath it. And this is effective bureaucracy. This is what leadership is supposed to do. And what you find is, like I said, when the circle of safety is strong and people come to work and feel safe, they naturally cooperate and trust each other to face the dangers externally and seize the opportunities externally. When they have to invest any more than the minimum, if any, energy to protect themselves internally, they're taking away the energy that they could be applying externally. That's why great organizations are the ones where leadership commits to their people first.
Okay, and as we looked at that video and listened to it, talking a lot about business model and organizations regarding, the circle of trust and things like that. But great organizations constantly have to have innovation and creativity and can't be afraid to fail. And one of the things I've challenged our teachers with is that FAIL acronym. It's our first attempt in learning. And while all of us would like to be able to rely specifically on specific standards and specific curriculum and specific outcomes and things like that, it stifles innovation and creativity a little bit. So I ask our teachers to step outside that, to try new things with kids, to try to engage learning in a different way and attach learning to emotion. Because if we attach learning to emotion, as we all know, emotion, if something emotional happens to you, it etches in your mind and burns in your brain forever. If we can attach emotion to content and delivery, our students will continue to excel and want to go beyond what they think they can do. So that's the challenge I present our teachers with each and every day here at West Shore. And I'm proud to say that most of the time, our teachers rise to that occasion and exceed that expectation. So they're encouraged to try new labs in science. They're encouraged to try new robotics techniques in our programming class. They're encouraged to do new ways of solving math problems and try to engage kids in specific ways, because the learning styles of our students are very different. So with that, I'm going to share another PowerPoint very briefly. And it talks about school culture. And one of the things that makes West Shore a special place for children is the culture that we have here, because parallel in degree of importance with content mastery, curriculum alignment, and making sure kids get what they need is the social emotional connection of our kids to our school and to our teachers, to one another, as well as to parents. So we have challenged them. So I'm going to pull up, share my screen on another PowerPoint. Bear with me here. And okay. And this is one of the things I've been most proud of here at West Shore is being able to bring in the very best teachers that believe in the sense of teamwork and school culture. Teachers that work closely with one another and talking about content and talking about instructional delivery make good things for kids. And again, I like to talk about culture as a way to promote innovation and creativity among instructional practice. And this is what we have challenged them with. So bear with me as I start this next PowerPoint. I apologize for the sound graphics. I was adding that to the presentation. But again, West Shore, like I said, one of the powerful things about our school is a case study in school culture and some of the things that sets us apart. And basically what culture is, it's a set of rules for human behavior in an organization. You've often heard me refer to our school as the Wildcat Nation. And oftentimes I like to consider that we annex things into the Wildcat Nation, move forward and make it better. Some of the things that we talked about, and I'm going to show the video so that you can get a clear picture and understanding of the challenge for our teachers as we move forward in our school culture. I'd like to share here. So bear with me. This is not a very long video. I'll show this and then I'll talk a little bit more about it.
So when you say the word culture, what do you mean when you say culture? One of the first things that comes to mind is in an environment where there is deep trust. And one of the elements of creating trust is vulnerability, and creating an environment where vulnerability is not just a dirty word, but something that team members embrace. Having a vulnerable workplace is actually one where people trust each other wholeheartedly. And with that trust, you can do bigger work. So one of the people who I think we both consider a work hero is Dr. Brené Brown. And one of her quotes that just rings in my ear is that you can choose courage or you can choose comfort, but you can't have both. And so what kind of an environment do you want to create? healthy environments are ones where people feel connected to themselves, they feel connected to their team members, and they feel connected to their end user. And creating an environment where deep connection can happen in all three of those areas is one where innovation thrives. And as you scale, you're able to bring people in a way that feels really healthy, and then they're able to connect into your mission and your user and one another. When you look at an organization has its set of beliefs and behaviors. And so part of creating a healthy environment is taking the time to reflect on what the organization beliefs are, and then mapping that to, is that what we want? Is that really what we believe? Are those our values? And if they're not, then how do we move toward the values that we want from where we are? And then on the back end, to actually have measurement in place to see if this is where we want to go, then are we getting there? Just a gut feel isn't enough. It's important to actually track it and then course correct. If you're not hitting the mark, then we need to do something differently. Just like anything that matters, it requires attention. And you can choose how you want to pay attention to something like your culture. There are lots of different approaches. As long as you're paying attention to it and you're being intentional about creating something that you want, then you're on the right track. The problem comes when you're not paying attention and it is evolving in a way that can, down the road, cause problems.
Okay, back to the presentation, and you heard a number of those things, and you might be asking yourself, why is Mr. Fleming showing us videos of business models and organizational models? And I can tell you that, as we look at the most effective business practices and businesses over the years and organizations, it's about people, and it's about connecting people to one another, connecting them to their content, and connecting them to their end user, as you heard in that video, and that is you, the parents, and our students. One of the biggest and best quotes I heard out of that was, you can choose courage or you can choose comfort, but you can't have both. I like to be challenged by our teachers in terms of where we're headed as an organization, and I'll share a brief story with you that I presented to them a few years ago on a challenge as we moved forward with some of the changes in our curriculum when we added AP Capstone. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a company called Brother. Many of you may remember them. Old people like me will remember Brother because they were a typewriter company. And in the late 80s to early 90s, they made their most Mac Daddy product they ever made in the world. It had autocorrect, voice command, all of the features as an electric typewriter did. But if you recall, something came out in the same year, and that was the personal computer. And so here's a company that built their most Mac Daddy product in the world that they have ever built, that they were very proud of. And it was revolutionary in the electric typewriter world, but it was obsolete. And it became obsolete because there was another product in the personal computer and the dot matrix printer, and we all remember those. And I never want West Shore to be Brother. So we consistently try to push forward with innovation and creativity and meeting the needs of what students need as far as their college admissions portfolio. So there's a lot of research that goes into that by our guidance team and the most highly selective colleges in the nation to ensure we are giving our students the best opportunity to get into their college of choice. So the challenge was to re-energize, recalibrate, and reconnect with our students. And that was the mantra we used for the 2021-22 school year. Naturally, we've been derailed a little bit through forces outside of our control, but I can tell you that as an organization, that remains our mission. And we are going to continue to do the best we can, and you will get the best we have. as an organization in preparing them for your children. And once again, it's not perfect. It never is. And we realize that we are dealing with your most sacred and precious commodity in your children. And we will continue to work tirelessly to meet their needs, as well as the needs of what their future is going to hold. So with that, I'm going to cut this short. I'm not going to go through the whole PowerPoint that I did for teachers, but part of that culture and organization, as you know, is trust. And along with the academic rigor and the things we put children through for their best interest in terms of academics, the other side of that is the activities. And I know we've really fallen short as the society on our activities for children, and we are going to work to try the things like homecoming and powder puff and spirit week. And I can assure you that we have daily conversations with the forces that we have to work within to make sure we're keeping that enriching environment for children, both from an academic and a social emotional standpoint. So we are excited about our Spirit Week coming up in later September this month, along with our Powder Puff football game, which is part of our school culture, because there are norms, folkways, and traditions of schools. And those are fun things for our children that we want to continue. And because they're outdoors, we will be able to have those. So we're excited about that. But as we move forward in 2021-22 school year, I want to wish you the very best as parents. My office and door is always open, as is guidance, as is any of the administrative staff and our teachers. With the new mask mandate, some of the silver lining, and I'm not here to judge or either side of that particular issue. It has cut down on our quarantines, which again is keeping our kids in school. So I really, the silver lining of the whole mask thing is that it is keeping our children in school. I don't want you to take that as I'm pro mask or against mask, but I want to make sure that the kids are in school, and we're happy about that. And hopefully there'll be a day soon when we can get back to normal with all of our activities. So I thank you for giving me your gift of time in watching this. And I try not to go too long, but I want to make sure that I try to cover everything. And again, the Wildcat Nation is strong, and we're getting stronger by the day. And I'm proud of our students, and I'm thankful for our parents, and I'm especially thankful for our teachers. And we've got a lot of new staff that are acclimating to our school culture and our climate, and they're doing a great job. So thank you for your support, and it's been wonderful being with you. And have a great school year, and have a wonderful long weekend.